While I like to make my final art traditionally, I love using digital tools to plan out my illustrations. It's so much faster and it's so much easier to be able to just adjust things without having to completely redraw them. I'm still pretty new to Procreate, so I'm sure there's way more efficient ways to do some of these things, but I hope that it's helpful for you to see some of my process anyway. All right, so for today's, since I'm brainstorming and just making some thumbnail ideas, I don't have to have my canvas be any particular size. So I'm just gonna go to plus and I'm gonna go, we'll just do this one. So I'm gonna start by just drawing some boxes to kind of brainstorm layout ideas. So I'm gonna go up here to the brush, and I like this inking one, and I like the syrup brush just because it's very smooth. And so I just click to get rid of that. But right now it's on the biggest setting. And so that would give, it's white. Sorry, that's not going to show up, is it? And so I'm going to come over here and I'm actually going to make it like an orange. And so I bring this down with my stylus. And I like making my first sketch this kind of color. And so that's clearly too big. So I'm going to double tap with my fingers and erase that and bring it down maybe to here. Let's see. That's a little small. Okay, there we go. And so I'm gonna come over, and the piece I'm doing is kind of sized for a 10x8 book. And so it's kind of a landscape page format. And so I'm just gonna do a few of these. And again, they're not exact. These are just ideas, or just 4 ideas. Okay, and I'm going to come up here to layers and I'm going to make another layer. And I'm going to, let's see, what size is that? I might just make that a little bigger. With thumbnails, the goal is just to capture like the idea of what you're trying to show. And so they're very, very basic. These are going to be pretty quick and they're not going to have any detail. Okay, so I do know that I want my characters in this scene to be on the top of a mountain, looking out kind of out over a mountain range or the valley below. But I'm not sure if I want the characters to be very up close to the viewer or like little tiny on the top of the mountain. And so I kind of want to try some different layouts in that vein, see what I can come up with, okay? So bear with me here while I experiment. And so for this part here, I like this little part, but I don't like the way I did the background. And so I'm going to copy that and paste that and then move that new one down so that I can just try a different background with it. I guess we can keep it on that same layer. That's one of the things I'm still learning is how to combine the layers and things. I'm not sure how to do that part. So we'll just leave it on this own layer for now. Okay, so I'd like to flip this around, and I do not remember how to do that. Oh, here we go. I found it. So flip horizontal. Okay, there we go. Yay. Okay. I realized that the dragon in my other pictures is quite a bit smaller than that. He's a little pocket dragon. And so I wanted to make sure he was the right size. Sorry, one of the things I've not learned how to do well yet is to move the pieces. They just keep expanding and contracting instead of moving. Every once in a while it'll move and I'm like, yes, but I can't figure out what I did differently. So excuse me while I try to figure out how to make this move. So one of the things that you have to watch out for with kids' book illustrations, and you might know this, so if you know this, I'm sorry, but this gutter line, this center line here, that will be sucked into the middle of the book and you'll actually lose some of the illustration that is right around that. And so one of the things you have to be really careful of is to not put like the character's face where it'll get, eaten by part of the gutter. And so that's something that I have to figure out here. Like, should I move him more over to the left or should I scoot him back over to the right or try a different place altogether? So that's, I'm not sure about that. He might still, because it would end up being like, right here. That's probably okay. Well, we will test it on the one that is actually, if I decide I like that layout, I'll test it on the one that's actually the right size. So now I want to keep a similar idea of having the faces really up close, but I want to turn the girls a little bit more maybe and see if I can see kind of a 3/4 view like I was starting to do earlier. One of the things that I want to also try to watch out for when designing is that the characters are facing to the right, like towards the page turn. Usually, I mean, rules can always be broken depending on the circumstance, right? But usually I like to have them face the page turn because since English reads from left to right, it's nice to have the characters kind of follow the same line of sight, really. So let's try this with her again. I keep making it too big. Hang on. Okay, so sometimes what I like to do is to draw past the edges of the picture. So like in this case, because I'm having so much trouble figuring out how her face would look, if that's how her head would be, and then this character has a hat on, I think the hat's too high up. I think the brim would probably actually be like down here. But if that's where she is and you've got her ear, she also has a backpack on, which goes really high up, I think, actually. So really it would be seeing like that kind of angle, unless she doesn't have her backpack on. Just kidding. Here, let me take that off. Okay, so let's clean this up a little because that's too chaotic. Okay, so that's kind of where her face would end up, I think. And then she has hair that's always out. And she has a braid. So this actually ended up being like really the kind of it's the same kind of angle as the one up here. And I actually think it would be nicer to have her face like lifted. If I try her face lifted a little bit, what does that do? That gives it a little more of a dynamic feel. So we can go with that. So the dragon is sitting on her shoulder here. So I do kind of like how this comes up here. So then if I was to erase, but not all the way, so I'm going to lower my opacity quite a bit. And if I, make that bigger. Oopsies, maybe not that big. And so if I was to kind of, that's not enough. Keep the through lines there, but pull this off so that I can kind of see what would just be on the picture. So that's more how the picture itself would look. I'm going to raise that back up all the way. Come in here because I kind of messed that up. So I actually don't like how much he is angled. So I'm going to erase him and make sure it still connects with the neck, but I kind of like how he was in this other one a little better. The thing is, though, I don't like how his horn is going right into this part of, whoops, too thick, right into that part of her neck. And she looks too old also. I mean, that's something that I would probably deal with more later, but I just feel like my proportions are off. So I think maybe, because I do like this layout, but I think that her face should be down. More like that maybe, which would change the ear. Whoa, press too hard. Yeah, because then this overlapping of the horn with her cheek I think is better. So maybe on this one, we would actually be seeing that much of his little back. Okay, so that would be cool. And then where should the mountains be? Do I want to try them like that and have it mostly be sky? So that's too even, I feel like. I do want it to feel kind of peaceful. And so having the horizon line be kind of straight like that is not a bad thing. But I just kind of really liked the dynamism of this. I don't know. See, it depends what you're going for. Like, am I going for a more epic feel or a more soft feel? And honestly, I'm not sure yet. But that's okay. That's what this process was for, to kind of get the feel of it. Or to kind of figure out the feel of it, I guess. So that one, I think I'm going to do what I did earlier and take part of it and then duplicate it and move that up here. Erase this wonkiness here. Back to my most recent layer, which I think is that one. Okay, so I'm not sure about that. This would, of course, have like clouds and, you know, it wouldn't just be open. It would be a lot of blue. And this would give a big expanse of sky. And this one is more an expanse of the ground and the sky. And I'm not sure which one I like better. So for the next one, I think I want to try kind of similar to this idea, but closer in. So like if we just saw the top of it. And then the dragon could be here. I don't know what's going on with his legs, but that's okay. No, you know what? I don't like him there. And the other thing is what pose? Like, I actually don't really care for that pose. So she could be sitting. That might be more interesting. She's gotten to the top and looking out over all the space that they've come up. So her head is actually quite a bit bigger than that compared to her body. So I'm gonna... There we go. That's a little closer. I kind of like the idea of it feeling like she's on the very top there. So there we go. And then, so I can make the silhouette more clear and show that, because she's got that little space under her calf right there. And then her dragon friend could be flying like he is in these ones. But again, not too close to the thing, but that seems not quite right. I kind of want to move her, actually. Let's try moving her up and over a little bit. Oh, man. I could make her bigger. So I have that. And then I could have the... So then I could have the mountains like that. And I kind of like the bit coming from behind her. And then something that I wanted to try, actually, was having it come in just a little bit, like having a line on the edge here, and having the characters in the foreground come out past that. Because this is part of a set of 3 spreads, and in the other ones, or in one of the other ones, I have a border kind of like this. And so I thought it might be fun to carry it through to one of the other illustrations. Let's try that. And then I can move, oh, that's a different spread. Yeah. I think that could be cool. And I can put that back. I just wanted to see it without it. Okay, so I do like that. So I think what I want to do is copy that whole thing over. Move it, whoops. Move it down. This is what happens when my things aren't quite right. So, oh, there we go. So I can use my 2 fingers to rotate it. Well, so that accidentally erased it. I don't know what I did. All right. Anyway, so let's see if it's still there. No, it went away. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. Just having difficulties over here. Bring it down. I'm gonna shrink it. I still don't know what I did. Sorry about that. The joys of learning new things, right? Okay, so this is pretty off, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Because it would only be like about 1/2 inch on the actual page, so it's not gonna be that thick of a border as I have it on here. Okay, let's get rid of some of this extra kerfuffle, just so I can kind of really see what I've got. So my biggest beef with this actually is that it takes up the full page and that it comes all the way to the middle. And so it makes it feel very like one-sided, two-sided, like it's too balanced. And so I think I want to try shrinking that actually a little bit. Okay, so let's try shrinking her down. I like asymmetry. I know some people prefer symmetry, but I like it. I like things off a little bit. All right, so then that comes over here. And then so do I still want the mountain to come that way? Or do I want it to come from lower down? Because I want it to kind of feel like she's high up. So maybe what I need to do is I need to circle her again. And this time, not shrink her or enlarge her, but just move her up or slightly bigger. There we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. All right. that. And so I want to bring this in all the way. She's still kind of far over. Okay, I'm gonna double tap to undo. See if it'll let me. I don't even know what that is. So no, we're not gonna do that. I don't want to mess it up again. This is probably really painful for you if you know how to do this stuff. You're probably yelling at your computer or the TV, just going, why? You just do this. If so, I'm really sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna enlarge her a bit this way and then shrink her back this way because I'm tired of it not cooperating with me. Okay, I think that's a better positioning. So let's try that out. It's still coming almost halfway though, and then it has given a lot more weight to the rock instead of the character. So in that respect, I kind of like this one better. Oh, you know what? This line right here is not even in the middle. Hold on. Let's actually try to put that in the middle-ish. So it's more right there. So she actually was okay before because this one, I think as well, is not taking up all the way to the middle like I thought it was. So I guess that wasn't actually that big of a deal. But that's okay. Let's go here. And I'm going to, nope, not that. Erase. Take this. I wonder, you could probably also, she could be on the edge of a little outlook. That might be interesting. I'm not sure about that. But it's not terrible. So I think, let's see, so I'm using my index finger and my thumb and pushing together and then expanding them to change the size there. I think what I want to do is go to the canvas. Let's see if I can expand it. I'm actually not sure. Yay! Excellent. I love when things work. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to my kind of original, just some different ideas, I guess. Not an 8x10. We're like eking into square territory over here. Looks like she's sitting on a wave. There would be clouds. I don't remember why I erased the clouds. Oh, it felt too busy. Oh yeah, I had wanted to move him. Okay, so let's erase him. And he could be sitting here with her. Luna looking out over everything. I don't know what's going on with that shape, but bear with me. It's a dragon, I promise. He's too big there, though. I almost wonder if there should be a piece that, like, comes like that. But then it doesn't feel so much like they're on the top, does it? Okay, so no, I don't like that. We'll leave that alone. I thought about having her face, like, face on, but it's one of my the illustration spread before this has her facing like this, and so she's looking that way, and so it's, I don't want to have it too similar, but that could have been an interesting angle otherwise. So let's go totally different. I want to try something very different. Let's go like put my rock in, and I'm going to go all the way across the gutter. And that's a very lumpy rock though. Let's maybe, so this is the halfway point. So I don't want it to be directly in half. I'm thinking more like at a third. So maybe more like that. Okay. And so what I was thinking was to have her feet. Is this the same layer? No. Okay, cool. So I can draw over this one. So that is her proportion, but I want her to be a lot bigger. So I want to just show her feet. And so I just wanted to make sure I got the proportion right. So this time I actually am going to expand. And that would be her feet and torso. So, I wonder if it should cross the gutter. If her feet should cross the gutter. Is that weird? I don't know. like to have a leg on each side of it. It seems kind of off. You definitely, I don't want it directly down the gutter because then it will look weird. It'll be too thin. So what I want to do is I want to take that again. One of the things I have not learned how to do is to just copy something, to cut something, because I've tried remove and then copy and paste. Does that do it? It did it. Yes. Okay, cool. So then I want to go here but there's something else on that layer, isn't there? Something over here. Oh, Nikki. Oh. Remove, copy and paste. Okay. Is okay. So I can leave that one checked and then I can come here and erase that. This is the one I'm trying to erase. And I'm gonna hide that. Technical difficulties again. Okay, so then when that comes back, now they're separate, so this is all by itself. Okay, workaround. All right, so now when I do this, it only has this guy, which is perfect because I want to erase them. Oh, it is doing the other part. I didn't realize that was connected. That's okay. It's fine. We got this. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm using that just as a really wonky guide. And so I'm just going to put a new layer because I'm apparently confusing myself so easily right now. And I'm going to put the little rock back and fill it in because it's easier on my brain. Okay, so something like that. And so I do like the idea of the one leg kind of jutting out here. And so if she's got a foot there, really her butt is right here. So I might need to make her legs bigger to make it, make her closer so that her butt would be farther up and off the page because I don't really want it right there. So let's try that. There we go. Something kind of like that, or maybe angled more. This, you know what? Yeah, this should be angled more. Honestly, it feels like part of a graphic novel, like that this and this should all be there, and this one, like they should all be there. Sometimes, I don't know if you're the same way, but sometimes I have a really hard time deciding what should be on the, like which one to pick. So if I was gonna do this one, it would be harder to show the dragon. I think that I could put him up here. I have no idea what his pose is doing. I can't, really struggling with the little dragon poses apparently. But other than his pose, that's not terrible. And then I'm going to come in and just make that not in the way. I feel like maybe you don't get as much sense of vastness with them taking up, more room. And then again, if I wanted to put the border on this one, but I have to be careful because it's kind of like it might make a tangent, it might meet and line up right there if I'm not careful, and that will kind of make it lose the depth effect. I'm kind of intrigued by that one, honestly. So I think what I want to do is just kind of fill in well, they'd be darker really. She's way up front. Now we're getting into a value study, and that is not the step for right now, but I'm having trouble deciding on this composition, so it sometimes will help a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of like that. The other thing though with this one that I have to be mindful of is leaving room for text. Not every spread has to have room for text, that could be a wordless spread, but I've been trying to practice more with designing my compositions with leaving room for text because I like to just cram the picture full of stuff. If this came down more, then that might work. It would leave this whole area open. So now what if I took this one and I'm going to copy it and move that over. And since that one's smaller, I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Come on, you can do it. Aha! That's fine. Okay, and so I think what I want to do here is, I'm wondering what if I made them a different size. So, but now we're getting into the territory of the dragon crossing the gutter, so that may not work, but let's see. So here it would show her butt and part of her waist. So it'd probably be more like that, I think. I could still come like this. Oh, that is too close to the top of her boot. And so I could do something kind of like that, hold my one finger on it, and then I can pick the color. And so I'm going to color match that just so I can fill in right here. So there's also, I could do something like that. Or I was thinking, what if I take them, I'll just take the whole thing, copy and paste, move that over here, and it's just a little one. But then I changed the dragon. So I was thinking with this one, what if, zoom in just a little bit there. What if I, oops, that's right, I forgot I changed my color. So I can come up here. Oh no, it's not there. Yeah, I'll just do this. Pick it again. All right. So I do kind of like that, although I feel like that needs to be lower because it's cool and it's up high, but then it feels like she's not up on the highest part. In fact, maybe that might be better. This one and this one definitely feel like those two types of designs definitely feel like they're more at the top, especially this one. Feels more like they're at the top overlooking everything else, which is kind of what I wanted. I feel like with these, the mountains come up so high that you kind of lose that effect. But then when I try to lower them, it puts them on the same plane as this one, as the rock. So it's kind of eh. The other option actually might be moving her up higher, but then it would be all rock with just the bottoms of her boots. And I don't know that I really want that. This I'm going to put on another layer. I'm going to try the dragon here. I wonder if I had part of this come down. Oh, that's right, it's on a different layer. I wonder if I had part of this come down and instead of being so angled maybe. But I don't want it to meet directly in the corner like this because then your eye kind of stops there. And so I want to have it kind of come out a little bit, or up a little bit, I guess. Just a quick little value thing for my, help me kind of see. Yeah, I'm really not sure. I think that this is out because I don't like that she's looking to the right. I really do like this one because again, it feels like really vast. Although I kind of I don't like that they're in the middle of the page. So actually really quickly, let's, I don't even know what layer that is. This one? No, no. Oh, this one. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take them and scoot them over. I wonder if maybe I should switch their direction if I were to flip horizontal again. I think I shrank them too much, didn't I? So I like this one a lot compared to this one because the mountains low down right here are just really even with his face, and I don't care for that. So this one and this one ended up almost the same. I meant to have this one be turned with her face turned a little farther away and this one a little closer to the viewer, but that's okay. This one was no because of the evenness there. These I am intrigued by, but I'm not sure. Because of how her body is positioned, just kind of posed right here, I feel like it's too stagnant. Even though he's flying and her hair is blowing in the breeze and she's got kind of a jaunty little pose, it still feels stagnant. I could work with the clouds too and try to make them look like they're blowing in the wind, but I'm not sure. This one I don't like because it did that thing I was talking about earlier where it's like the whole half of the page. So I'm going to say no on this one. And also I don't like how even the dragon and the mountains are and the little platform she's on. It's all too straight across the page. It's too boring. This one I think is just a weird, like just having her booty right there and then the dragon also goes right here. It's just kind of weird. I feel like I should have added more of her torso or less of it, like over here. So I think this one is a no-go, especially because of the dragon crossing it. Since he's so small, I worry that too much of him would get lost in the gutter. Like if it was this one, it would probably be okay, but this little guy is too small. Like I tried to put the focal point at the third mark, like the rule of thirds, right? So if the page was cut into thirds, if you do the spread, it puts the joining of their faces right at the focal point, and I really like that a lot. That feels very pleasing composition wise. So this one I'm really favoring. This one, I don't know, again, I like it, but it's even more stagnant because he's seated instead of flying. So I think that this one is probably no. This one I do like. I mentioned earlier, I actually do like that one. But in the page before this, I have an illustration series of little panels. And in each of those panels, the characters are about that big. Like pretty close to this. And so I think that because I think it would be too redundant. And so I think that one is a no-go just because of that. And this one is the same as the one under it. And so we're down to this one, and this one. I think I like this one, but I think it's too still. Like it's very peaceful feeling. But I think I like the feeling with the sense of adventure in these two. I think is a little bit more what I wanted that part of the story to feel like. So I think we're going to call no on that, even though it's hard because I really like that and I want to paint it. But yeah, I think we're going to go with one of these two. I didn't test this one with the border. So I think because this one's fully colored, or mostly, I'm going to do that here so I can like fairly compare them. So that's also telling me that the landscape and her face and hat are too close in value. So when I do the value study, I'm going to have to really pay attention to that and maybe make her face in shadow or make like the hat lighter. Like if the sun is up here and it's coming here, then whoops, her hat would be much lighter. I don't know what layer it's on. I'm not gonna fool with it right now, but that's for the value study. So since I can't decide between this one and this one, I am going to, oh, you know what might help? Hold on. I got an idea. So let's expand this more, like quite a bit more. Okay, and then let's take, I'm going to merge all my layers under those things. Okay, so that was here, merge down. So there might be a better way to do this. I don't know. If you do, you can share it with us. I was trying to leave the slash marks on a separate one, but I realized that they were on multiple layers anyway, so that's fine. And it did mess up my drawing a little bit on here. Oopsies. So the two that we had picked as this one and then this one. I am going to go away from this so that I can not look at it for a while, give my eyes a rest, and then I can come back to it and see what I think. And hopefully I will be able to pick one. And then next time I'm going to show you which one I picked and tell you why. And I'm going to show you how I turn this little tiny thing into a full-size, still rough, but full-size sketch that I can then make a proper value study and a color study from and refine. So yes, there we go. Until next time.